Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic, and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, is another review. Today we're tackling actually a video game review. I haven't done one of these in a while. This is going to be, obviously you could tell by the title and the thumbnail, this is Marvel's Spider-Man, aka Spider-Man PS4 slash PS5. The 2018 one, the one that everyone kind of loves. And I love it too. But anyway, we're going to get into it. The gameplay you're seeing here is not for me. I actually don't know how to record on my PlayStation. For some reason, I just stick in the USB. It doesn't work. So I got to fix that. But right now, you're going to be seeing just some gameplay. I'll credit whoever I'm using in the description down below. And make sure to go subscribe to myself and like the video if you enjoyed. Really does help me out, and I appreciate it. Anyway. Spider-Man, I guess I'll just call it Spider-Man PS4. You know what I'm talking about, though. It's Marvel Spider-Man. Now, when this game came out on PS4, I didn't have a PlayStation. So I got a PS4, and then I decided, okay, I'm gonna buy some games, and one of them was Spider-Man PS4. And of course, right when I kind of got into this game is when COVID first hit. So like, I was in my college, right, and I took a quiz on like the human anatomy or something, and the next day the whole world just went to pot. It just like shut the fudge down, like that. It was just crazy. It was like snap of fingers, the world exploded basically, and I was stuck with nothing to do. Well, I had a lot to do. I had a lot of video games, but in this case, I was like, oh, well, I'll just play Spider-Man PS4. It's all good. And obviously, if Corona never happened, not the beer, I would have definitely still loved it and played it. But it's a special game to me. This is really not going to impede my rating, but this was a very special game because it was the first game I played during lockdown. It was like the world's kind of shit right now, so what can I do to not make it that? And I was like, oh, Spider-Man, that's cool. I love the character. I love some of his movies, and like I said, the character is really, really awesome. Just a really awesome, Marvel character. And I know there's been good Spider-Man games in the past, but this was kind of the first one that mainstream really kind of hit it off in the right way. And of course, Insomniac Games did this, and they did Ratchet and Clank and a few other games. A little one called Sunset Overdrive, which I'm going to be reviewing that soon. I just actually recently played it. It's a freaking amazing video game. If you haven't played it, it's on Xbox One only. Maybe, I'm assuming PC as well, but go play it. It's a great game. But in this case, Insomniac's first open world game was Sunset. So then they took kind of what they learned from the parkour and the movement and the world design and the quests and all that into Marvel's Spider-Man, and just really knocked it out of the friggin' park. Knocked it out of the city. New York City. Because this, from the moment you start this game, okay, now I'm mainly talking about the PS5 version here when I say smooth 60 FPS and all that, because the PS4 version was essentially a locked 30, but I recently played the game on my PS5, but I played it during Corona, obviously, when that first started on my PS4. It's confusing. It's the same game, just the PS5 version's a little better in terms of graphics and frame rate. But anyway, I immediately started playing it, and it was incredible. I mean, the graphics were insane. Obviously, I mean, they still hold up today. Obviously, the remastered version is better, just a little bit, but the PS4 version still really holds up. It's a really good looking game, man. When you're swinging throughout the city and you see that, the sunset, or just the graphics in general, the reflections and all that, it's a really beautiful looking video game. You know what I mean? New York City isn't really known for being beautiful looking. I haven't been there, but just from what I've seen of New York, it's getting attacked by aliens almost constantly. So I figured, hey, as good as you can make New York right now, Lego Marvel 1 and Lego Marvel's Avengers had good graphics as well. Okay, don't discredit TT Games and the Lego games. However, Insomniac, clearly they had the bigger budget. And while the Lego Marvel games look friggin' amazing, especially Avengers, this one really is just top tier New York City graphics. It really, really looks good. I mean, everything, the character models, everything. I mean, there isn't one thing that looks bad in this game. Now, I guess if you're swinging out in the city and you find like that boat or whatever with all the low polygon potato-looking people, I guess that's kind of bad. But I guess that was a mistake, and then they kind of paid homage to it in the remaster, and they were like, hey, look what you found, buddy. So I mean, that objectively, yeah, it's bad, but I'm not going to say it's horrible. I mean, like, it's more of a funny thing than anything. But yeah, game looks really friggin' good. Frame rate, again, the PS4 version is a very consistent 30. I really didn't have any issues playing, swinging through the city, fighting, enemies and all that. The cutscenes, none of it lagged for me on my PS4, and that is not a PS4 Pro. It's just a base, the fat version, the PS4, 2013. ran great. Obviously, the PS5 version, same exact thing, even better. It was a smooth, consistent 60 FPS, no drops, no screen tear, none of that dumb shit that Ubisoft games tend to have all the time. So that's really good. Obviously, that's a big win for Insomniac Games to not have the issues that many AAA games, have. So that's cool. I guess they really kind of prioritize that, which is nice, because when you're swinging through the city as Spider-Man and you're frame dropping and you're screen tearing, and it's just, that would be horrible. You know what I mean? Like, you need a smooth, whether it's 60 or 30 or 30 or 60, you need that consistency, especially in a fast and fluid game. Like imagine playing Call of Duty. I guess this does happen in Call of Duty, but imagine playing COD, right? And it's just lagging like hell. You can't get a kill, you can't enjoy your time. It's the same thing, when you're doing a fast-paced game, you need that smooth frame rate, and it is. The story, again, it's nothing too insane, but it's a good story for Peter Parker, of course, trying to go through his life and all that, and we do meet Miles, and MJ's in there. Kingpin is the villain, and we got the Sinister Six essentially is in there as well, which is cool. Rhino and Electro. Really good stuff there. Of course, the big bad guy, Mr. Negative, or Martin Lee. Very cool villain again. Nothing too insane where, like, it blew my mind, but it's a good story. It's serviceable. It does its job. Nothing is downright bad about it. I think it's very well done, in fact. The voice acting is tremendous, as, you would expect from a Marvel game, especially of this caliber. The cinematography is great in the cutscenes. It looks like whenever you're watching a cutscene, it's like you're watching a little mini movie, like a little mini short. It kind of feels like that. It's really, really cinematic, which is nice. Which, again, you're playing Spider-Man. It kind of has to be, right? If you have bad choreography and bad cinematography, and your cutscenes look like dirt, I mean, you're not going to be that invested. So the story itself is good. The premise is good, but the delivery and the action and the promise of that story, the execution is very good. And it's very, very, it's good. I mean, I swear, like, I recently replayed it on my PS5, and I was telling myself, I didn't talk to myself, but I thought to myself, I said, hey, franchise, this video game, it's better than, like, half the movies. And I know, okay, I'm not, I'm not the biggest fan of the Sam Raimi, even though I love Sam Raimi. I love Evil Dead. The Spider-Man trilogy is not my favorite trilogy in cinema. They're not bad. Just like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. They're not bad. They're watchable. They're pretty good for the most part. But I think that the storytelling in this, and the cinematography, and the editing, and the acting, and the writing, everything just kind of fits. And it really does connect in a way that some of the movies don't. Like, I really can't think of a crap line or a really bad shot in a cutscene. Like, they deliberately made this a very cinematic experience, which is good, because it makes you care more. When shit hits the fan, and it does, it makes me as a player care. Not because I love Spider-Man, and not just because it's a good game, but they were able to kind of, you can have a non-Spider-Man fan play this, and I guarantee you they will either begin to like the character or Marvel, or they will at least appreciate what they're doing, because it's a good story. Now, what falters a bit is the MJ stuff. Now, obviously, this has been said to death, right? We're beating a friggin' horse to death right now. The horse has been dead for many years, and we're still attacking it. Metaphor. And basically, it's not bad, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, it's horrible. Like, I'm not one of those YouTubers that just shits on stuff because it's popular and it gets views. I'll say this. MJ, okay, as a straight guy, she's pretty hot. Okay, we'll get about that with 2. Okay, we'll talk about it with Spider-Man 2. But in Spider-Man 1, she's hot. So I don't mind looking at her, okay? Like, as a dude, it's like, all right, if I had to play as a girl, at least she's attractive. Now, they're not going to make her ugly, but you know what I'm saying. If you have to play as a girl, whatever. And they also kind of give her a taser a little bit. At least I think she does. I'm trying to remember. She gets like a stun gun, maybe. She gets something. And, she's not useless. There's this, stealthy sections where you kind of have to, kind of whittle and waddle your way through, like, enemy encampments and shit. And you just look stupid. Same thing with Miles Morales before he gets the powers, obviously. Because I'm thinking to myself, I'm playing this MJ stuff and the Miles stuff, and I'm sneaking around, I'm picking off guys like a stealth game, and I'm thinking, this is fun-ish. I don't hate it, but Spider-Man could do what she's doing and what Miles, is doing 1 trillion times faster with, like, zero repercussion if stuff goes bad. If MJ messes up, she gets shot in the face, and she's dead. That's it. Game over. Go home. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. Same with Miles. Before he gets the powers, it's just some teenager, waddling around a dumpster looking for whatever, and the bad guys find him or her, and just like they pop him and you're done. Spider-Man could do this in like a heartbeat. Now I get it. I get they're trying to tell a story. Maybe it's not as fun or fluid as when you're playing as Spider-Man, obviously. But no, I don't think that the MJ and the Miles stuff is the worst thing in the whole universe. I can think of a lot of worse things in the world than that, at least a few. And I think that it's just kind of a bummer that a lot of people hate it because it's not that bad. Like, no, I'd rather play Spider-Man, obviously, but maybe like the third time I had to, quietly sneak like a friggin' ninja through the bushes to get medicine for MJ or for Aunt May or something. I was like, all right, this is kind of stupid. But the first time, it was like, all right, this is cool and innovative and it's something different. No, I'm playing as MJ now. Oh, I'm playing as Miles. It's fine for like the first time. It does get old a bit. That's all I'm going to say on that. When it comes to the gameplay, I mean, it's freaking Arkham. It's basically the best. I mean, I don't know how to say this because I don't want to piss anyone off, but I love the Arkham series, okay? But this game, I mean, it just destroys every Arkham game. I mean, gameplay-wise, like, straight up. Like, I love Arkham Knight, I love the Batmobile, I love gliding around as Batman, grappling onto buildings, but Batman is like a depressed whale in terms of movement speed, and Spider-Man is like a energetic me. It's like giving me 5 Dunkin' drinks and like 6 cans of pop and a beer and saying, go crazy, and just crazy stuff happens. That's basically what Spider-Man is. I mean, you are genuinely, and again, we'll talk about this with Miles and Spider-Man 2, because all of this kind of gets reworked a little bit in the other ones, but this one is very much, okay, you are fast, and you are swinging around, and it feels, on a PS4 or a PS5 controller, it feels friggin' amazing to play as Spider-Man. It does take a minute to get used to the swinging, and, because the swinging controls are different than the combat controls, but it works, and it's very fun. I mean, when you are just swinging around New York, you're listening to music on your phone or whatever, or you're just hearing the dialogue, or just simply playing the game, listening to the game audio, it's still effing, like, really addicting, man. It is super duper fun to just swing around as Spider-Man. I mean, it wouldn't have been as fun, though, if they messed up the controls. Because there's a lot of Spider-Man games that had come before it that are, I haven't played them, but I've heard that they're not as fluid, obviously. Now, look at the Lego Marvel games. Spider-Man in those games, really, you just kind of tap the A button to jump. You tap A twice, and he swings. And then you just kind of move the analog stick forward for him to swing. You hold the A button for him to, go up, and B to go down. It's flashy. It looks fun. It's slow, obviously, because it's a Lego game. You're not going to be moving super fast, because then it would kind of break the immersion of every other character. But it works, and it's fun. And all 3 Lego Marvel games do a really good job. I mean, that is proof that you don't need complex controls to make playing as Spider-Man and swinging around a city fun, or Nuevo, or whatever, Chronopolis in Lego Marvel 2. But in this one, it is a bit more convoluted, obviously, but it's not bad convoluted. Like, it does take a minute to get acclimated when you first play it, but once you start, it's insanely freaking fun, man, and it's very intuitive. Once 5 minutes go by, you'll be swinging like freaking nothing, man. I swear. So yeah, the swinging controls are really great, and then you get to the combat and just running around. Doing missions and all that. It's really, really fun to do that as well because the combat is so epic. The Batman Arkham series kind of pioneered third-person combat for a long time. I mean, tons of video games kind of try to, emulate it and copy it, like Mad Max, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War, other effing games, I'm assuming, probably Assassin's Creed, but this one is a bit different. I mean, really, instead of tapping Y, you're tapping, PlayStation. Instead of tapping triangle, you're tapping circle or O or what, I mean, it's not like that different, but Spider-Man is quick. He's flipping all over guys. There's no, like, real block button or counter. You're just kind of, like, dodging all the time. I guess kind of like Gotham Knights, but good. And in that sense, it's really friggin' fun because you can rack up your combos and you can, obviously hit R1 on your PlayStation controller and web up guys. And I think you hold L1 and, like, you bring up this little, web wheel and you can kind of select different things that you can go. You get the web concussive blast and the web shooters, obviously. You get the web, I don't even know. I haven't played this game in forever. It's the web something. There's like the web blossom or whatever. And then on top of all of the gadgets you get, you also have the suits. And these are not just skins. Right? You're not like just putting on a Miguel O'Hara costume and you're like, oh, cool, my Peter Parker does the same thing, but he looks different. It's that, but it's also you get to have a new suit ability, and you get to kind of, mix and match. So like one suit kind of has an ability where, say, you kind of I think it's called the web blossom, maybe, where like Spider-Man jumps in the air and just webs a bunch of guys real quick, and then he lands on the floor or the ground. But then you pair that suit with another suit, and you can maybe go invisible for a few seconds, or you can play the Spider Punk, whatever. You kind of do this epic guitar riff and just you incapacitate villains and stuff. I mean, it's really really cool how every suit not only looks different, and they don't really play differently in swinging animations, but when it comes to the abilities that each suit has, it's really friggin' cool that you can mix and match, and there's a lot of replayability there. Obviously, the replayability comes from redoing bases. Of course, there's different Far Cry, Assassin's Creed style bases, Arkham bases, where you can kind of go around and beat up X number of villains, and then you can redo them and get suit points and get whatever you want, which is really great. Or you can just redo them for fun if you want to challenge. But the best part about this game is the open world and what you can do when you finish. I'm not talking about New Game Plus. I'm not talking about redoing the game. I'm talking about when you 100% this game and you are like, all right, what do I do now? At least for me, this is really what makes a good open world game different from a great open world game. Okay, like you look at like a bad open world game, for example. Look at like Rage 2. It's fun, but then when you beat Rage 2, there's really not a whole lot to do unless. And I'm not talking redoing stuff. I'm just saying exploring and just whatever. It's kind of boring. And then you look at like a good open world game, which is, let's say Far Cry 4, for example, right? You beat Far Cry 4. You're in Kyrat or whatever, the Himalayas, and what can you do in Far Cry 4 when you beat it? You can run around, you can walk around, drive around, whatever, hunt. You can redo bases, and that's about it. I mean, there are some enemies in the world, but in a lot of the Far Cry games, when you beat them, unless you're actively redoing something, like a base, I'm just talking, organically exploring, there's not a whole lot going on. And that makes all your guns and shit really effing not useful, because you work your way up, and then you're like, all right, what do I, oh, I shoot this pig, oh, I'll go shoot that deer, I'll go RPG a deer, like 8 times, and then I just get bored and I put something else in, This game is an example. There's a lot of them. This is an example of a great open world game, because when you finish this game and you ask, what can you do? You can run around like an idiot. I guess I do that. So, I think we all do that, You're Spider-Man, so why the hell aren't you swinging? But I walk. Sometimes I just run around and greet people and give them high fives and stuff. You can do that. Obviously, you can swing around this massive open world of New York. That never gets old. And the biggest thing about this game is respawning enemies. I have a big issue with open world games that don't respawn enemies, because in that vein, you, like Far Cry, some of them, you get all your cool stuff. You have really badass weapons, and you're just totally decked out like a god. And then you beat it, and you can't do nothing with them. It's just this big empty open world, no one to kill, no enemies. You're just running around like a moron with a bunch of guns on your back, like a moron. Maybe you'll RPG a pig or a deer. That's about it. Maybe you'll see 1 or 2 enemies, whatever. But what keeps this game alive, even after you beat it millions of hours later, in my opinion, is the fact that there are respawning enemies. I'm not talking bases, I'm talking organically swinging around, and you'll get notifications from Yuri or whoever, the cops. They'll say, hey, we got a burglary, we got a Grand Theft Auto, we got a whatever. And then you go down there and you beat the bad guys up, and then you keep swinging, and then, a minute or 2 later, you get, another call from the cops, and you can obviously ignore them, but I normally do them. And that's really cool, because not only does that help the character of Spider-Man, right? It gives you something to do as the player, always, but it gives the character a reason why he's in this world, even after you beat it. Because when you're looking at it narrative-wise, Spider-Man fights crime in New York. That's like his whole thing. You know what I mean? You look at Batman Arkham Knight, right? Massive open world for the most part. You get the Batmobile, you get the whatever, the freaking grapple hook and the gliding. You can freely explore Gotham after you beat Arkham Knight. But there's like 5 villains on the whole map. Like if you run around the rooftops of Arkham Knight, nothing is happening. Organically. There are no respawning enemies on the roof. There's maybe like 4 or 5 guys on the ground in like one key location. You beat them up, and then you get in your car or you glide around for another 20 minutes, and then you see 1 guy with a gun or 2 guys with knives or a bat. It's just not that fun when you beat the game. Arkham Knight is a good open world game. It's not a great one because I get bored after 10-15 minutes of playing Arkham Knight because there's almost nothing going on when you beat it. This game, always something going on. There's always a reason to use your abilities and your gadgets. So in that vein, Spider-Man is instantly better than any Arkham game in terms of its replayability and its fun. Again, I know you can redo missions, you can redo bases, you can start the game again. There's New Game Plus. I'm specifically mentioning just save file, and you're just kind of roaming around. What can you do? That's what makes this game so great, and that's why this is instantly a great game in my eyes. Because not only do you have amazing graphics and a great frame rate and a great story, with great voice acting, good characterization, tons of good missions. Some of them can be better than others, with the MJ and Miles stuff and whatnot. Not every mission is a 10 out of 10, but that cinematic feel to it is really awesome. And then, again, you get to that open world, and even when you're done with the collectibles and all that, there are still things going on in the world that make you want to come back, and it also makes it make sense for Spider-Man to continue existing in New York, because there's always bad stuff going on, right? There's always stupid people trying to do stupid things, and their stupid prize is Spider-Man beats them not to death. He breaks their bones very extensively, and I think that's what's really cool, because, again, as the player, you're always doing something fun, and that is just a really awesome thing to do. Again, I can't stand open-world games that are basically empty when you beat them, because there's no point. Besides, replay it. New Game Plus. New Game Plus. It's like, no, I don't want to do that. I just want to, for a little bit at least, I want to keep exploring the world that I've been collecting stuff in and just enjoy my collectibles or enjoy my equipment that I've upgraded or whatnot. And again, most games do this. Obviously, you look at, Lego games. That's always fun to me because you can break stuff all the time. It's just fun to explore. Obviously Shadow of War, Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto for the most part, Just Cause 2, Borderlands. I mean, I can think of 100 open world games that do it just like Spider-Man. But in the term of open world superhero that isn't the Lego games, definitely Spider-Man takes the cake for sure. I mean, it's just such a fun game. And Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2 get even better. You're going to have to look forward to those reviews coming out soon, but I really enjoy this game. I genuinely can't think of that many negatives. This game is regarded as one of the best comic book games for a reason, okay? Like, I'm not just jumping on the bandwagon here. I genuinely agree. Like, it's a great freaking game. You know what I mean? If you have a PS4 or PS5 and you haven't played Spider-Man 1, you gotta do it, man. It's not that long of a game. It took me maybe, 40 hours to do everything, every mission, every collectible, all that. It's a very fun game. And again, during COVID when that was happening, it was the kind of the perfect game on my PlayStation to play and just kind of sink a ton of hours into because I had nothing else to do. So I'm like, all right, I'll just beat the crap out of this game. And I think I beat it in like 2 or 3 days. You know what I mean? It's just such an addicting game, man. Even when you beat it, there's always something to do. Really fun game. And again, that cinematography, the voice acting, the graphics, the frame rate, none of it takes you out of it. Maybe some of it with, those 1 or 2 odd missions. But it's just a really well-crafted comic book story that is genuinely fun to play and explore. And, you're friggin' Spider-Man. Like, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, playing as Batman's awesome. But, again, Arkham Knight and Arkham City is a little better than Knight because there's more enemies. But it boggles my mind that Arkham Knight doesn't have more enemies than Free Roam. Because you're playing as effing Batman. Like, Batman's whole deal is that he beats up people. Like, all the time. And there's like 4 guys on the street. I know, they evacuated. I don't care. I want more enemies in Arkham Knight. Rocksteady, patch it. Forget Suicide Squad, kill the Justice League. I want Arkham Knight. I want more enemies. And then I'll play it again. I don't know. They added the Robert Pattinson suit, and I played that. That was fun. But, yeah, anyway. I love the game, but still, I think that's what makes Spider-Man better than the Arkham series in terms of replayability, at least. And I really do enjoy it for sure. I did uninstall it. I'm not going to lie to you guys, only because I needed room. And also Spider-Man 2. I mean, we'll talk about it. They just actually, they had this big crazy patch with New Game Plus and weather changes and all that. It's a really good update. But first we have to get to Miles Morales. But I hope you guys enjoyed my Spider-Man PS4 / PS5 Marvel, Spider-Man, whatever you want to call it, the first one. Hope you enjoyed my review. Tell me in the comments down below what you thought about this game, and hope you enjoyed the gameplay. I'm gonna have the credit for whoever I pick down in the description down below. I had a lot of fun playing this game back when COVID hit, and back on my PS5. I, of course, replayed the whole game from scratch. I did it all over again, and it was a joy, even more so, because I got to play it in 60 FPS, and it was really friggin' smooth, and it felt awesome to play, and it still does. Again, great awesomeness in terms of a story, great awesomeness. That was weird. In terms of a story, in terms of the characterization, the voice acting for the most part, I mean, everything pretty much hits, but the biggest takeaway is that open world and the fact you're always doing something cool and you're always having fun. Thank you guys, and we'll see you in the next video.